Welcome everyone to another episode of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays, brought to you by my friends at smallscalehobbies.com. You've heard me say this before, but if you are into wargaming and or military collectibles and models, check out smallscalehobbies.com for everything you need there. Alright, in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Cougar MRAP, both the 6x6 and the 4x4 versions. Obviously, the model you see spinning around in front of you is the 6x6 version. The model is made by Trident. It is a resin kit, and we will get there in just a little while. But first, let's learn about the Cougar MRAPs. They were designed by Technical Solutions out of South Africa. They are currently manufactured by Force Protection Incorporated. It'll cost you a cool $650,000 if you want to add one of these to your garage at home. However, you can take all of your friends and their friends to the party with a crew of 2 and room for 8 passengers in the back. This vehicle can be fitted with the Crows, which is the commonly remote-operated weapons system up here. I do not have that, obviously, on the vehicle in this one, but you will see it in the 4x4 version. I've left it off of this so that you can see what it looks like without it. It's powered by a Caterpillar C7 330 horsepower diesel engine that can get this vehicle going up to 65 miles an hour on a paved surface. So, why do we need MRAP vehicles such as the Cougar? If you remember, in my Military Mondays video about the Humvee, that vehicle in particular highlighted the need for a transport vehicle used by the U.S. military that was more resistant to mines and IEDs and RPGs. So the MRAPs really were the answer to that problem. So they are protected against, as I said, mines, IEDs, and small arms using a combination of materials and design features to protect both the crew and the engine compartment, mostly because the vehicles have a V-shaped hull design inside of them. And what, in essence, that V-shaped hull does is that it directs an explosion away from the crew and the passengers by directing the explosion away from the vehicle. So it's kind of cool how that works. A lot of the vehicles produced for the military within the last 10, 15, now almost 20 years have this design element in them. And we can really thank Technical Solutions and a lot of the vehicles out of that South African company for that innovation. So this vehicle is used by the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force. It's called a bunch of different things depending on what its specific application or use is for and what branch of the service is using it. So, for example, if the Army is using it, a lot of times it will be go by, easy for me to say, the HEV, or the Hardened Engineer Vehicle. If you're in the Navy, you may have heard it be called the JERV, or the Joint Explosive Rapid Response Vehicle. Many EOD operations, depending on, doesn't really matter what service you're in, a lot of them will call this the JERV. So, again, a pretty cool vehicle. Basically, all you really need to know is that it's a protected vehicle, a better protected troop transport vehicle that can get guys from A to B with a higher survivability factor if this vehicle were to be ambushed or if there were to be an IED or a mine detonated under it. You have a much better chance of avoiding serious injury or worse if you are in one of these versus if you are in a soft skin vehicle such as a Humvee or a 5-ton truck, for example. All right, on to now the model. This is a kit by Trident. So here's the box that it comes in. You can see that it has a picture that I tried to model this one off as close as I can get it to. The item number is 87136 if you were to look this up. Again, this version, the 6x6, which is the Cougar MRAP HE, you can get this from smallscalehobbies.com today if you want to add one of these to your collection. I will tell you, my experience, this was not a very enjoyable kit to build. I am still learning and trying to get used to these resin builds, but there's a lot of pieces that don't necessarily fit well, particularly when you are dealing with the underside components, the chassis, the wheels. I tried to get mine to sit halfway decent for this video. I will be going and doing a lot more with this, particularly in trying to get the wheels to line up better and to sit more evenly than you see it now. I will be adding some windows as well, but for the most part, for what I had to do and what I could get out of this, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It will take you a little while because obviously anything resin, you have to cut things from spruces very, very carefully because you can break resin, and then obviously paint and prime everything and detail and glue everything together. So if you are an inexperienced builder, as I am, when it comes to doing these Trident kits, I probably would stay away from this one, especially if this is your first or maybe your first 10 of these. I certainly would stay away from this one and maybe start off with something that's already pretty well assembled for the most part and just comes with some accessory pieces like the Rocco Mini Champs or Mini Tanks kits, for example. I probably would start off with one of those. So that is the 6x6 version. You have seen that. Now let's take a look at a Cougar in the 4x4 configuration. This is a 3D printed kit. So this is the Cougar H 4x4. Again, if you're paying attention, the 6x6 is the Cougar HE. This is the Cougar H. This I bought off the internet on a 3D printing website. This is not available as of the time of this video's publication on smallscalehobbies.com, but I know that he is working on getting a lot of 3D models in, so that may change in the future. So this comes in blue, at least that's what it was printed in. You can see that there. I had to do a lot of cleaning up on this to get it halfway decent. It does come with some accessories that you can put on the back and towards the front, such as, different IED mechanisms and things on this that I chose to leave off just for now. But other than that, pretty pleased with it. I did paint some of the accent pieces, the detail pieces, such as jerry cans or fuel cans, in olive drab. You can see the windows are painted black. You have some lights painted in red. Even the hand and grab rails at the rear and the tip of the exhaust is painted black. The wheels, or I should say the tires, more specifically, are painted in Tamiya black rubber, because if you use the black like you would use for the windows, it's just too shiny and doesn't look right. This does have the Crow's weapon system mounted on it, so in this case this has some sort of machine gun on it. It's not very specific, but if I were to guess, probably either a 240 Bravo or maybe even a 50 cal. You could put whatever you want on here in the real world, up to probably a 40mm grenade launcher, automatic grenade launcher. Again, anything with 3D printing, you do have to sand. You do have to do even more preparation than you would for Trident resin kits. But they do turn out halfway decent. At least I'm pleased with mine, and it goes great with my modern era military vehicles display. So that will wrap up this week's episode of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays. Hope you guys have enjoyed learning about the MRAPs, specifically the Cougars in the MRAP family of vehicles. They are certainly a vehicle that is in the inventory for the foreseeable future. Maybe even you've seen these in Hollywood movies. American Sniper comes to mind immediately, where if you have seen that movie, then you have certainly seen Cougars up close. Thank you all so much again for watching. Until next time, take care, be well, be safe, and I will catch you in the next review.